consequence for ordinary Ghanaians, and therefore, having promised the Ghanaian people in 2016 that they were going to end their suffering, their way of ending the suffering is to exacerbate it by increased taxes.
But they have removed 17 taxes since they came to power. That's you instituted, your government.
And they will institute and adjust upwards some taxes, including ESLA. You remember, they oppose sound economic principles. They oppose ESLA, the energy sector levy. Would you be surprised today that it will be adjusted upward between 15, at least about 15 or more % of it, because they have no option. You either borrow or you increase taxation. Recall that when the NDC introduced ESLA, and that is my fear, if there will be consistency, organized labor embarked on a nationwide strike and demonstration because it amounted to some chiseling of their income. And probably the same will happen. We've seen them spend more on one of the major flagship initiative, justifiably in pursuit of it, and monies otherwise meant for other sectors of the economy are just not available. So,
but they point to power purchase agreements that your government signed. 30 of them.
What has power purchase? Challenge them to produce them tomorrow. I challenge them.
You challenge them to produce those PPAs tomorrow?
Yes.
Because they say that they are costing us about $1 billion.
That is simply not true. Palpable falsehood. And I'm challenging the New Patriotic Party to make public those PPAs and the savings they have made. Let them show it to the Ghanaian people. I'm simply saying that Ghanaians should brace themselves up for very real difficult times. There will be spectacular increases in the taxes, and the political party will demonstrate that they are not abhorrent to good tax policies and principles of the National Democratic Congress. Tax policies that Seth Terkper and President Mahama supervised to manage the economy. Would be looking forward to see what their superior leadership will be. I mean, superiority is not to come back and swallow your own saliva. That's not superiority.
But what are the options available? What are the alternatives for raising revenue?
Alternative for raising revenue is that you cannot continue to borrow, and there is evidence of a fiscal slippage, and you don't want a situation where even early next year or by end of next year we may be compelled again as a country to rethink an IMF bailout. Impossible. And
you think that we'll go back to the IMF next year?
If we do not manage the economy well since their announced exit, know that the US was not particularly happy even about Ghana's exit, because we're still not managing debt very well, and the rigidities of the economy remains intact, interest payment, compensation, and statutory funds. And you know, sometimes the MPP, they like singing their own praises. When you come to Parliament to ask for forgiveness by way of capping, then you go and create an impression that you are superior managing the economy. It's just forgiveness. If you had to pay 1.5 billion to Common Fund or any other statutory fund, then you come to Parliament with a capping notion or strategy, and it's reduced to 1 billion. That is not superior economic management. It's just forgiveness, that instead of paying 1.5 billion to Common Fund, you are now paying 1 billion. Okay. It doesn't make you a better manager of the economy.
Mr. Driso, you haven't mentioned any alternative way that we can raise funds if it is not raising taxes.
For an economy, you have three options. You either borrow, which I would not recommend, or you do public-private partnership. The policy have not been passed. The law to regulate public-private partnership have also not been passed. So it means that you are not ready. You already are spending a colossal amount of money on debt service, and they are continuing to borrow, contrary to what they told Ghanaians that they knew the whereabouts of money in the system and in the economy. They don't have a superior debt management strategy. I've always used the new airport terminal tray as an NDC superior debt management initiative, where that is not sitting on public debt or part of the consolidated fund. What we did was to allow the Ghana Airport Company to have access to airport tax in order to service that debt. Let the MPP demonstrate today that
isn't that still taxation, with just taxation being done by another entity other than government?
Taxation, I would encourage you and if you go to the parliamentary Hansard of 23rd December 2015, when ESLA was introduced, we heard Ajima Menu and many others say that they would not support it because it will increase hardship. So their way of ending hardship today will be to increase hardship. And I'm afraid of what organized labor response will be to this adjustment. And therefore, the Ghanaian people should brace up themselves for increased hardship. Already the growth of the economy is not resulting in expanded employment. You have an emasculated private sector where even payment to contractors are targeted to a few, and those perceived to be NDC contractors are discriminated against. That is not a healthy thing going forward for this country. And we all need to engage much more thoroughly. I mean, you have found contractors who work under the NDC who are not being paid, yet new contractors who are undertaking projects under this administration are having their due on it. The media, you need to probe further on this. I also presume that the communication service tax, you talk tax, you probably will suffer some increase in the cost of your communication, because as an indirect tax, it's easier to translate and defer this to the consumer. So I'm looking at 3 tax adjustments.
ESLA, communication service, and
the third we are still researching, because we are looking at where they can get good numbers to safeguard a struggling economy.
Information Minister,
the information that they are giving the Ghanaian public.
Information Minister Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah has mentioned, Mr. Idrisu, that you often make these predictions and they don't come true.
So always listen to my predictions and listen to what he says, and we'll see who suffers the credibility deficit.
Thank you very much, Haruna Idrisu. He said that he got up. I have more questions, but then again, we understand he has to go to Parliament to meet the Finance Minister as the mid-year budget review is being presented today. You're still live on the Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. You heard Mr. Idrisu refer there to my colleague George Riafi, who has joined us in studio. Good morning, George.
Hi, Daniel. Good morning.
Great work there with Kweku Kwarteng, Deputy Finance Minister, by the way.
Thank you.
Of course. So George and I would be going into some basics and some details. We want to answer these questions. Why do we need a budget review? What can we expect, looking at the hints that people like Mr. Haruna Idrisu have dropped and the hints that Mr. Kweku Kwarteng himself have dropped? And really, is taxation the real solution in this country? George, it will interest you to know that in the engagements I had with Mr. Idrisu, and I pointed it out to him, we haven't had an alternative from him to taxation. When it comes to funding the Lekma Road that we talk about and free SHS that we talk about. And so we will definitely be looking at what the experts say, and we will be laying out why we need a review. But that will come immediately after this. Stay with us.
Welcome to 21st Century Service Provision. Need to pay your ward school fees?
Thanks, Daddy.
Want to flex that girl?
Wow, he's so cool.
Grandma needs airtime to fill me in on all the village filler.
Hey, me be a guy.
Or you're just tired of having to hop from app to shortcodes to website and back. Welcome to the new phase of buying, selling, and connecting with customers. Welcome to convenience and technology. Welcome to My GH Pay, myghpay.com. Make or receive payments online from anywhere using a Visa card, MasterCard, GH Link card, or your mobile money wallet. Businesses, associations, institutions can get listed for free today and enjoy a new world of convenience. Download My GH Pay for free from Play Store and App Store. myghpay.com. Buy, sell, and connect. The platform for everyone.
I believe that I can be all of the best, whatever I do, guaranteed to take the lead.
On Vodafone Cash, it is impossible for anybody to defraud you, as all transactions are initiated and authorized by you. If you know, you know.
The future is exciting. Ready? Comfort, durability, finishing, quality. Choosing sofas and beds for your home, office, or hotel couldn't be easier with an exclusive range of sofas and beds in various designs and colors from Latex Foam. There is so much choice, whatever your budget. Latex Foam, your partner for life.
Charlie, where are you?
Bossman, I'm at the bank.
Really? But your car is in front of your house.
Bro, my bank on my phone, Charlie.
Oh, how?
EcoBank, bro. With EcoBank mobile app, I can do everything, anywhere, anytime. Listen, I just checked my account balance, paid Ahmed's school fees, and sent money to my grandma at Wale.
Oh, wow.
Wow. Massa, just download the EcoBank mobile app from the Google Play Store or the App Store, or dial *770# and be your own bank manager.
Manager.
Whether to pay bills or fees, to check account statements, send money across Ghana, abroad, and more, EcoBank mobile app has got it covered. EcoBank Mobile, making everyday people live everyday lives the EcoBank way. EcoBank, the Pan-African bank.
So you wanted that weave, that one that's so long it touches your toes. Got it. A disco light for the room when the sweetheart comes over. Swoon your matron.
Super Morning Show.
15 minutes past 8 here on your Super Morning Show on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Daniel Daze. Thank you very much for staying with us. So in the past 45 minutes or so, we have heard from Deputy Finance Minister Kweku Kwarteng, who has taken us through 4 main points, and I'll go through them again. Number 1, luxury vehicle tax will be fine-tuned. Number 2, we should expect new taxes. Number 3, expenditure by government will be contained this year, and taxation to production does not mean that there will be no new taxes at all. We've also heard from Minority Leader Haruna Idrisu, who has zoned down to say he is expecting an increase in communication service tax, in the energy sector levies, and he says that there's a third one that they are still doing research on. George Riafi is with us in studio, and George and I will be going through some of these issues very, very shortly. However, before we hear from George, though, 20 days of surprises on your favorite Super Morning Show. From today, the 29th day of July, to Friday, the 23rd of August, join the conversation every morning from Monday to Friday. Tweet at us with your hashtag JoySMS and be that lucky person to win instant prizes from airtime, souvenirs, and from our Twitter handle at Joy997FM. So the deal is simple. Just tweet at us at Joy997FM. Tweet with the hashtag JoySMS and you can win airtime. You can also win souvenirs. In fact, we'll be announcing the first winner very soon on our handle at Joy997FM. So you want to stay with us, go on to join the conversation on Twitter as well as in studio. It's an exciting time. Now, of course, if you receive remittances from abroad, like how Stoneboy is asking here, so it'll be money, no. Guarantee Trust Bank Ghana Limited, GT Bank, and Ria Money Transfer Service have partnered with ZPay to launch the Ria to Mobile service. This is a very, very convenient service that allows senders globally to remit funds directly into their mobile money wallets or beneficiaries in Ghana across mobile money operators. With Ria to Mobile, the days of visiting the branch to redeem your remittances are over. Just provide your mobile money number to your family, friends, and business partners abroad, and within a few minutes, your Ria remittance is credited directly into your wallet anytime, anywhere. Spread the word. Ria to Mobile is here. For further inquiries, please call our 24-hour hotline 0302 611 560 or toll free 0800 124 000. Guarantee Trust Bank. Wouldn't you rather bank with us? The Vodafone Bosu offer just got bigger. Aside the Bosu weekend offer, Vodafone has taken another boss step, introducing the Bosu daily offer. The Bosu of all the daily offers. Sign up to the Vodafone Bosu daily offer for 2 Ghana cedis and enjoy 100 minutes for calls to all networks plus 100 megabytes valid for 24 hours. Yes, it's real, pa. Just dial *5588# now to subscribe to the Vodafone Bosu daily offer and spend your day like a boss. Are you looking for a 1, 2, or 3-seater and L-shaped sofa crafted to the finest details and available in various colors for your home, office, or hotel? Are you looking for comfortability, durability, quality, and perfect finishing? Look no further. The Latex Foam is your one-stop shop destination. Whatever your choice, whatever your budget. Latex Foam, your partner for life. Right, so it's 19 minutes past 8. Welcome back, George, and let's go into the first question. Why do we need a mid-year budget review in the first place?
Well, when you go through what we call the Public Financial Administration Act, this is where this was a new regulation that was put in place to more produce or enhance prudence in government expenditure. So that law states that before July 31, the finance minister should come to Parliament and brief the House and tell us how the economy has fared over the last 6 months, and also more of extrapolate going forward how things look like. When you read a budget, you actually outlined your macroeconomic targets and all the rest. And the thinking behind this thing is that when you tell investors out there that at the end of the year, you're hoping to achieve an inflation target of this, spend X amount, people take those numbers and they work with, they plan. So if you're going through the year and there's a likelihood that you're going to have some challenges in meeting those targets, come back to Parliament, seek approval, and revise these numbers so that it will guide all of us to make sure that, okay, we say we are going to spend X amount of money, 78 billion Ghana cedis. We think that money is not enough. We have to increase it by 1 billion or 2 billion or 3 billion. Come to the House, tell the House, seek approval, and then spend that money. And the law also states that even if the finance minister wants to spend even a peso, he needs Parliament's approval to spend that amount of money.
That's good. And so on the macro side, things like inflation and GDP growth and what have you, it's something that gives us an idea. But also on the micro side, because it's in mid-year budget reviews that we have seen some interesting policies come up in terms of, tax realignment. And in the budget statements, for instance, we had a number of taxes introduced that people would want to know. The taxes that I paid, for instance, when I was clearing my vehicle, the taxes that I paid in my salary, if I'm in a certain salary band, do we still need them? Am I still going to have to pay them?
And then the various tax types that the minister announced in the 2019 budget, this mid-year review of estimates would actually update us on how those tax measures and those tax lines are fed. So, for instance, you talk about luxury tax on vehicles. You introduce this tax. How much have you been able to mobilize? Going forward, do we still need to keep the tax in that particular form, or it has to be reviewed? Don't forget that when the minister presented the budget in November, it was based on just figures for up to September or so, if I'm right, or even October. So now we have a better idea. The mid-year will now tell us that, okay, for 2018, these are the real numbers. If indeed government was on track, inflation was X amount, this was what you're trying to achieve. So we're going to get a better picture of the economy, or how the economy fared for last year, because now you have a full year data on our growth numbers, on our expenditure, and this whole debate about the budget deficit. I mean, what were the real numbers and all the rest? This mid-year review would actually give us an update on the full year performance of the economy, and then going forward, what he has to do or what he hasn't got to do to ensure that we achieve those targets or try to grow the economy and expand the economy.
So I'm getting some questions already on our WhatsApp console. You can also join in the conversation. 0244340437. What are the most key issues that you would expect the finance minister to address during the mid-year budget review? Someone is asking the question, is the finance minister providing money for the savings and loan cleanup? One of the biggest expenditure lines that we've seen, George, is the bond that was issued for the savings and loans for the banking sector cleanup, George. And we saw that the financial sector administration also needs some attention. Those are
we understand that these were not something that I think initially was planned. So it's been put government under some pressure in terms of its whole pairs or expenditure. And again, if you do the extrapolations, Daniel, it's likely that we might end up spending about 18 billion Ghana cedis on this. And where's the money going to come from?
18 billion Ghana cedis
with respect to the total cleanup of the banking sector. I mean, we've not talked about if anything should happen in the
savings and loans.
Or maybe even, let me talk about the investment space.
Yes,
maybe.
The capital market.
Yeah, so this is and all the rest. So you're just talking
operate.
about the banking sector. And that's based on the figures that we've gotten from the finance ministry and what the government has said they are going to spend. It could hit 18 billion. And that's a lot of money. So that one we understand is putting a lot of pressure on government payers and what government calls these expensive power contracts that they have to keep on servicing. That one we also understand it is putting some pressure on government expenditure, and they have to find ways and means to try and deal with that one, Daniel.
Yes, so those are some of the issues that we are dealing with this morning. Someone is asking, I really need you to help me on some issues about labor and wages. Good morning, Tony. Thank you very much for texting.
Is he talking about an increase in minimum wage? I don't think that might be answered in this particular budget because...
this is the media review.
Yeah.
So we can't see something like minimum wage here, right?
I stand to be corrected, but I don't think we will have broad policy changes or announcement in this budget because the minister's scope is actually guided by the Public Financial Administration Act, where he has to review those economic macro estimates. Also talking about the fact that some additional revenue have come in, we understand maybe from the oil sector, so he needs approval to spend. Yes, if you are reviewing your expenditure, envelope and all the rest, it's likely that some will go into some areas, some wouldn't go. So I don't think that there will be any announcement. We understand from the ministries that they've taken a decision that before a major budget presentation, they'll have an engagement with organized labor and then they will decide. I know the talks that are going on right now with organized labor are for the 2020 budget that will be presented in November this year.
Exactly.
So I doubt whether there will be any announcement of any increase in minimum wage.
That hardly happens.
Yeah, no, it won't happen in media review.
Okay, so thank you very much, Tony, for texting in. If you have any message, 0244 340 437. So, George, the big question, like we were asking earlier, is it about how we spend the money or is it about how we take the money? Because it seems like every time it comes down to taxation.
I think it's the two of them, Daniel. If you look at our revenue and you look at the size of our economy, the experts will say we should be doing about 20% of the value of the economy. If you look at it in terms of cash terms here, almost about 300 billion Ghana cedis. Now, the argument is that if you look at all the economic activities that are taking place in this economy, we should be mobilizing more than what we are realizing.
And Malik was telling us about how he went to Kaishi market and he was expecting to get a receipt for some of the things that he bought, and he can't. You never get a receipt when you go to the market.
That is where the problem. The structures are still maybe not there to mobilize all the money that we want. It looks like there are lots of things taking place in this economy, but we are not getting the net to catch that fish, that activity, to actually zoom in on those activities and ensure that those who are performing in that area, they pay the required taxes to government. It looks like we are struggling with that one. And that is why always there are reports about revenue. When you look at even for the Bank of Ghana's own statement for the first 5 months of this year in terms of fiscal data, we underperformed for the first 5 months of this year. And we understand that the problem was coming from international taxes, which has to do with the ports. So despite all those revenue measures that have been put in place or reforms at the ports, why are we still struggling to mobilize the required taxes in terms of those activities that are taking place at the country's ports? So is it a human problem? Is it the structures? Or some would argue that these reforms often take time before they materialize, before we see the results. So there's a problem with mobilization of revenue.
What I don't understand is that mobile money penetration, George, in this country is astronomical. We are about 136% when it comes to mobile money penetration. So a lot of people are moving money electronically in this country. Number one. Number two, go to some of these markets. What the financial sector crisis taught us was that a number of these people trust financial houses.
Are you suggesting that we should tax Momo?
No, I'm not saying no. I'm not talking about a tax on mobile money. What I'm saying is that people are keeping their monies. People are not just keeping their monies under their wallets, under their beds. There are people who have mobile money accounts. There are people who have Susu accounts. There are people who have put their money in some of these organizations with, financial capital, what have you, assets management, what have you. So why do we come back to this conversation of people being unbanked and so people can not paying taxes?
No, I don't think the main argument has been because people are not paying taxes because they are not banked. The problem also is about identifying the people. So we talked about the fact that about 6 million persons are supposed to be paying taxes, but out of that number, out of that projection, about 2 million are doing that. So the problem is that the system should be able to identify all those potential persons that are engaging in economic activities that we can go ahead and tax them. There's talk about the national ID card, being able to identify X person, that you are actually performing this activity. so that I can assess your tax, your income, and then based on your income, I'll do an assessment that based on what you're doing, this is the right tax levels that has to be applied on you. So it's about a structural issue as well, because if you don't have the structures, doing abaye or tax force going out there to catch people, that would be a 9-day wonder. You need those structures that can identify people that doesn't live on Mensawu Street, this house number. These are the persons in the house. These are the people who are working. These are their income levels. These are the things that they are doing that I can tax them. So that is a problem there. Again, Daniel, when you read the Auditor General's report every year, you're worried about the loopholes, the waste in the system. I mean, this is not based on rumors about somebody has spent it. This is the Auditor General actually putting out these reports. And sometimes also the problem about morale are people being motivated to pay their taxes. Because if I read these reports every year and I realize that people are spending, I mean, not just political heads alone, down to directors, agencies, and the waste in the system, sometimes it has an impact on the morale as well, and people being motivated that, oh, I've seen X amount of money being used to do this. In the past, Kufuor's administration, a big benefit. You see that you've mobilized X amount of tax. It's being used to do this. People are motivated. Even when I see my brother trying to circumvent the system, I say, Massa, pay your tax, because you've seen that the taxes that are being mobilized, they are being used for projects that are impacting on you and I.
You know one issue I have when it comes to motivation to pay tax. When we drive, the roads that we drive on.
Yeah.
When we go to the hospital and we see the gap when it comes to delivery of services. I mean, we can just talk about roads for the next 30 to 45 minutes. I could open the phone lines right now and ask, whose road is bad? And you see the number of people who will call. Where's the motivation? Look at how sanitation is managed in our cities. Where is the real motivation to respond by paying tax? Because already, George, you and I are salaried workers. You and I work in a formal economy. Look at how much of our salaries that they take.
But you see, Daniel, I think that we've also gotten to a point where we have to take a decision as a country that do we want to pay the right taxes to develop the economy, or we go out and borrow? But borrowing is just a delayed tax. Because if I borrow and I'm supposed to pay in 50 years' time, maybe you might not pay, your kids will come and pay. So let's take a decision whether it's borrowing or we should pay the taxes. No, but whilst we also put pressure on people to pay their taxes, we ensure that these monies are used for the right things and not to see some of these waste in the system based on the Auditor General's report that comes out every year.
Let me ask our listeners this question. I think that it's an important one to ask. It's 28 minutes to the top of the hour. So George and I have been talking about how taxation is sort of inevitable in the country. Even that is a bit questionable, but let's go on that assumption. If we are assuming that taxation is inevitable as of now, why are you not paying your tax? What would motivate you listening to us to pay more taxes? Yeah, what would you want to see that would encourage you to pay more taxes? 0244340437. 0244340437. Remember that we are speaking to Patrick Ewa, founder and president of Ashesi University, very shortly. He'll be joining us in studio. But your messages on social media are brought to you by EcoBank, the Pan-African Bank. Roverman Productions presents Uncle Ebo White's birthday giveaway promo. Visit ebowhite.com. Enter to win two free tickets, to Uncle Ebo White's brand new original play at the National Theatre on the 5th, the 6th, the 12th, and 13th of October 2019 at 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. each day. Click on the Enter promo button, fill the form, and send your send your goodwill message to Uncle Ebo White. The prize comes with 2 branded ebowhite.com t-shirts and 2 copies of Rover Report monthly magazine. Details are on its website, rovermanproductions.com, and its other social media platforms. Visit ebowhite.com now. Roverman Productions, be the difference. Good morning, Daniel. Our politicians are not making sense in this management of the economy. They misuse our money and they come back to raise more taxes, but there are so many untapped resources that can generate more revenue for the country. They should think deep. Why? Baba says we are charged for street lights every time we purchase or pay our bills. How many streets have lights? The government is robbing its citizens. Guys, our finance officers are only interested in taxing new areas instead of effectively retrieving existing ones. Note, I haven't paid property tax in the past 12 years. I hope they are not expecting me to pay and willingly, to go and pay willingly. I hope not. From Rash. Rash, should I give you your number to GRA? Can you imagine my old vehicle for which I used to pay 60 Ghana cedis for roadworthy, and now I pay 2,000 Ghana cedis? If you look at the vehicle, there's nothing luxury about it. Edwin from Accra. 0244340437. I'm curious about what could encourage you to pay more tax. And what are your expectations from the 2019 media budget review? Leslie Addo Inside Choco says, good morning, Daniel. My question to the finance minister is, I want to know what the status of the import levy reduction they promised the people of Abossey Okai, and whether or not that promise has been fulfilled. We'll hear some tidbits of last year's budget reading in just a moment. Daniel, good morning. What nation is this? Government borrows to build a cathedral, churches take tithes to build prisons. Okay, you are referring to the Church of Pentecost cutting the sword to build a prison complex. Oh, why Ghana? I can start paying taxes when my sick father has an available ambulance from Jamra to Accra, from Naneao in Dansuman. So Naneao, why don't you pay the tax and for us to buy the ambulance? That's also an argument. Good morning, Joy. There are many ways we can use to get all in the net. Going for passports now, we can ask for TIN number or TIN from GRA, Business Operating Permit, and evidence of payment, renewal of business license as requirements, and governments fulfilling obligations with giving us street lights as we pay for them, access roads for tolls, among others. Assemblies collecting building permits cannot give us good roads or street lights. Thank you, Manye in Tema. So Manye wants to see government delivering development with the taxes that we pay. That's great. It's 24 minutes to the top of the hour. If you missed the expenditure and revenue targets for 2019, here's the Finance Minister on November 15, 2018.
Mr. Speaker, total revenue and grants for 2019 is estimated at 58.9 billion, 17.1% of the rebased GDP, up from a projected outturn of 46.8 billion, 15.7%. of rebased GDP. Domestic revenue is estimated at 57.8 billion, representing an annual growth of 25.5% over the projected outturn for 2018. Of this amount, non-oil tax revenue will constitute about 74.2% of domestic revenue and amount to 42.9 billion Ghana cedis. This estimate reflects the impact of expected improvements in tax compliance and reforms in revenue administration. Non-tax revenue, excluding oil, will amount to 6.5 billion, 1.9% of GDP in 2019, equivalent to 11.3% of total domestic revenue. Of this amount, 4.4 billion is expected to be retained by institutions as internally generated funds. In addition, as a result of the IGF capping, an amount of 282.2 million is expected to be paid into the consolidated fund. Receipts from upstream petroleum activities are projected at 5.4 billion in 2019, equivalent to 1.6% of GDP and representing 30.3% over the projected outturn for 2018.